briefing from the DFA, and then a briefing, a situationer from the Department of Migrant Workers, and then of course one of the most important agencies that was affected by this crisis is the Department of Energy, and then the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, and then lastly the Department of Agriculture. So we'll start off with the Department of Foreign Affairs on a situationer. We want to know exactly where are we right now in terms of in relation to this conflict, and then later on we'll proceed to the other relevant departments. We recognize Secretary Lazaro.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and good morning to Your Honors and colleagues in government. Just to summarize the current conflict that which started on 28 February, Israel and the U.S. carried out a joint preemptive strike against Iran, with U.S. President Trump announcing major combat operations. Iran retaliated with missile and drone attacks on Israel, Saudi, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, and Jordan. Israel also launched attacks on Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah assets and Houthis in Yemen, which have announced the resumption of attacks in the Red Sea, which is now affecting our seafarers in solidarity with Iran. Um, just to also summarize, of course, as far as casualties concerned, we are saddened to report one confirmed Filipino casualty, Mary Ann de Vera, a caregiver from Pangasinan. The airspaces of all GCC countries are totally or partially open. Emirates although operates on a reduced flight schedule with at least three daily Dubai to Manila flights. And PAL canceled its flights to and from the Middle East until 30 April, while Cebu Pacific canceled theirs until 28 March. Abu Dhabi Airport remains partially operational with limited commercial flights, and that ito po ang dahilan kung bakit meron pong mga chartered flights na sinasagawa through the DMW. Qatar airspace is also partially open as Qatar Airways mounts limited flights, including those bound for Manila until 28 March. The airspaces of Saudi, Oman, Egypt, Turkey, and Jordan are also either totally or partially open. These routes have been used for the safe repatriation and evacuation of Filipinos. The airspaces of Kuwait and Bahrain, on the other hand, are closed. However, Kuwait Airways and Gulf Air announced the temporary resumption of their limited flights via Dammam, Saudi Arabia. Um, what we have been doing, Your Honors, is really the monitoring. We exercise this one country team approach whereby we deal with DMW through their MWO offices in the different GCC and other Middle East countries. We've also been on diplomatic cooperation. We've also been dealing with Department of Energy, and we already wrote letters to certain selected countries that have been identified by the DOE concerning petroleum reserves and the possibility of obtaining our petroleum needs from them. Um, on the other hand, there is also, we nag-convene po as chairman of the ASEAN, I convened the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting twice, on March 4 and an emergency meeting on March 13. On March 13, which is actually geared towards this issue of the petroleum needs of not only of each and of the whole of ASEAN, we touch we touch on the very important aspect of what there was an energy ministers meeting held last December, and during that meeting, they came up with this ASEAN, which nabanggit nyo po, is the ASEAN Framework on Petroleum Security, or APSA, which modernizes and updates the region's petroleum security arrangements. I think the details po can be given by the Department of Energy. On a global stage po, there are many resolutions, both in the UN, in the International Maritime Organization, that has been asking for to pin down, actually to condemn Iran on what has happened. So far po, we've been supporting, we're not, but we're not co-sponsoring these resolutions. Um, There's one that just a few 2 days ago with the International Maritime Organization. Nagsalita po ang ating ambassador sa London because we need to protect our seafarers, which is the topic of the discussion of the IMO. Meron din pong umiikot ngayon na declaration from selected countries uh, targeting on the Strait of Hormuz, and we're now studying that declaration whether we're going to support or not. Um, we of course yesterday natanggap po natin yung uh, social rather SOCMED post of President Trump that there have been discussions with the Iranian authorities. Of course, Iran came about with a statement that there are no discussions at all. However, per information coming from Washington D.C., I think meron pong mga talks. Pero si President Trump himself is the one handling this, and that I think 5 days muna moratorium. That is as far the information that we have. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for that. We'll go to the Department of Migrant Workers.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just a quick
Yes.
observation.
Go ahead.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Nagpapasalamat ako kay Secretary Lazaro for that briefing.